I'm an anchor and reporter with ABC 13 in Houston, and I actually grew up in Fort Bend County. In fact, on the way here, my mom was reminding me about how many times I've actually been to this courthouse for field trips and random events. So it's wonderful to be back in historic Richmond Rosenberg, and it's wonderful to be before you for this occasion. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to Fort Bend County and this historic courthouse. Black History Month is an annual celebration of African American history that honors the contributions and the sacrifices of African Americans who helped make the United States what it is today. Today, we are going to honor local African Americans who have attained a significant level of accomplishment in sports, politics, community service, entertainment, and business. This distinguished group of honorees represents the best in class and their respective fields and underscores the level of excellence within the African American demographic right here in Fort Bend County. Congratulations to all of the honorees. You are so deserving of this recognition. I thank Fort Bend County Judge K.P. George for inviting me to take part in this historic occasion. And of course, I grew up here, so it means a lot to me to be able to be here with you all today. I often say, a lot of times when I roll up to a scene, it's because something really terrible has happened. And so I treasure the opportunities that I have to be before a crowd like this, to celebrate some of the best things in our community. So let's get started. We're going to begin by hearing from our Fort Bend County Judge, the Honorable K.P. George.
I guess you have to keep that line up, right? It's not in my eyes, but good morning. Good morning. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you are being here. And this is also a historic moment. We specifically choose this courthouse to do this specifically. You know why? This was 110 plus year old courthouse. And it is historic in so many ways. And I don't know how many of you can see that there is a balcony upstairs. And that, you know who that was for? People like us. And we are sitting here now. And so we came a long way. We really did come a long way. And thank you. And the sacrifices your forefathers did and sacrificed their life and their well-being so that you all can sit in the courthouse right here. And I really appreciate it. And I said this last week when I was at an event, and I specifically said this. I am a person of Asian, South Asian, Indian descent, standing on the shoulders of your forefathers. And I just want you to know that every moment I cherish, and I recognize and I remind myself the sacrifices made by those people. And also, you know that our history starts from 1817, when Moses Austin tried to acquire this land, and he got it by 1822, And then, of course, by then it was Stephen F. Austin, and then 1837. I don't know how many of you know that we are incorporated under Republic of Texas. And then here we are, and of course, in Emancipation Proclamation, and of course our slaves in this county didn't know for 2 years almost, they're free. And you know the history, and the point what I'm trying to make is, after that there was an election, and in that election, of course, there was two Democratic group fought for control. One is jailbirds, and the other one was woodpeckers, and you know that there was a war happened, and here. And also, when you go out downstairs, when you turn to the door going, and on your right side, I believe, there is a picture of an African-American gentleman, Commissioner Taylor. Commissioner Taylor was the first African-American elected commissioner, and during that war, 1888, and he got around for his life, the rest of his life, he lived in Whatcom County. And thanks to Commissioner Prestige for bringing that picture and putting it in the courthouse. Thank you, sir. And that every day when I pass by, I look at that picture. And also, how many of you know, I don't know this, and Fort Bend County had a white-only primary since then until 1953. And it is important we teach history because and you know, there are people out there that don't want you're learning history, but of course, that history never go away. And that all gave me and gave many of you elected officials here an opportunity to stand here and free. But we have a long way to go. We just look like every day, look like we are just getting started. And that's why we always heard the saying that freedom is not free. It is not free. And every day passed by, you see that freedom is not free. And so, being said that, and I'm so honored to see a number of people we got an opportunity to recognize. And you know, and also last maybe 4 or 5 years, we got a good problem. We have too many African American leaders and community leaders to recognize, which we had before, but elected area, we see that many people, you know, in official capacity serving this county last 4 years. And thank you. And this year we decided we wanted to select segments, every level. These people are contributing to make our county and our community, our country, our state a better place. And that's why we selected a number of people who are, you all know already, and it is important that we actually recognize those individuals. And first person I wanted to recognize, and a good friend of mine, but I guess when he get my invitation and he get the president's invitation, he go to Washington. And so he's not here, and he got an invitation from president. And so, and actually, but of course, he is represented, and so a good friend, and the first African American since Reconstruction representing Fort Bend County at the State House. And I don't know how many of you know that he is become a leader at the legislative level. He is the Texas Legislative Black Caucus chair, and also contributing every second of the time I can invite that person for anything I need. He's here, and I will ask. At this point, I will ask our. Come on. Get a little bit more.
That's all right. That's all right. So we'll go into our proclamations now. From the office of the County Judge in Fort Bend County, Texas. Black History Month affords a unique opportunity to become more knowledgeable about Black heritage in Fort Bend County, to honor the many African American leaders who have contributed to the progress of our county. And whereas Representative Reynolds is serving his 7th term in the Texas House after being selected as the first African American state representative in Fort Bend County since Reconstruction, and whereas the Honorable Ron Reynolds has and continues to exhibit the highest standards of excellence in representing and serving the residents of Texas House District 27. Representative Reynolds leads with efficiency, effectiveness, and integrity, which has contributed to the growth and prosperity of his district and all of Fort Bend County. And whereas Representative Reynolds has devoted his life to serving the community, his leadership is immense, and he has served as House Minority Whip in 2 legislative sessions. Additionally, he has the distinguishable honor of being the chair of the Texas Legislative Black Caucus and Texas House Progressive Caucus. And now, therefore, KP George, County Judge of Fort Bend County, Texas, do hereby recognize on this 27th day of February 2023, Texas House Representative Ron Reynolds. honoree, Commissioner Grady Prestage was elected Precinct 2 County Commissioner in 1990, making it the first time that an African American has served on the Fort Bend County Commissioner's Court since the 1880s Reconstruction period. Since that time, he has been re-elected 8 times. As one of the senior members of the Fort Bend County Commissioner's Court, Commissioner Prestage has represented the communities and people in Precinct 2 with the highest standards of excellence, dedication, creativity, and skills. And whereas Commissioner Prestage, a civil engineer by trade, has and continues to help shape the fabric of Fort Bend County with his vision and his distinguished leadership, and now therefore, KP George, County Judge of Fort Bend County, Texas, do hereby recognize on this 27th day of February 2023, Fort Bend County Commissioner Grady Prestage.
I like to say one word. 2 words. Thank you.
And now I'd like to recognize the Honorable Dexter L. McCoy, an African-American leader in Fort Bend County. Mr. McCoy is a proud product of Fort Bend County before being elected the first African-American commissioner for Precinct 4. And whereas Mr. McCoy has represented Fort Bend County as an appointee to President Barack Obama's administration, Fort Bend ISD, and Gulf Coast Workforce Development Board, and therefore, KP George, County Judge of Fort Bend County, Texas, do hereby recognize on this 27th day of February 2023, Fort Bend County Commissioner Dexter L. McCoy. We're going to take a quick break in the proclamations, and I'd like to introduce Quincy Collins for an inspirational greeting. Come on up, Quincy.
The history of Black Americans is a testament to the strength of the human spirit. Black Americans have persevered through some of the most difficult challenges in American history. We must recognize the remarkable achievements of Black Americans, from inventors to artists and athletes. Black Americans have greatly impacted American culture and society. The legacy of Black Americans is one of fearlessness, creativity, and courage. I believe in the power of the individual to overcome adversity and achieve great things. We must celebrate the triumphs of Black Americans who have overcome incredible obstacles to make their mark on American history. And I pledge to continue working towards a society that honors the principles of freedom and justice for all. As we celebrate Black History Month, it's important to reflect on the significant contributions of Black people throughout history. Black people have left an indelible mark on our world, and we must remember the struggles of our ancestors and the sacrifices they made to pave the way for our present-day successes. The history of Black people is marked by racism. Despite the obstacles, Black people have persevered and made groundbreaking contributions to society. We cannot forget the many accomplishments of Black inventors like Garrett Morgan, who created the first traffic light, and Marie Van Britten Brown, who invented the first home security system. We also cannot forget the contributions of Black activists who fought for civil rights and social justice. People like Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and Rosa Parks, who refused to give her seat up in a Montgomery, Alabama bus are just a few examples of the many black activists who left a mark on our world. In addition, black people have made tremendous contributions to art and music, from jazz and blues to hip hop and R&B. Artists like Nina Simone, Stevie Wonder, and Tupac Shakur used social injustices to speak out with their music. It's important to realize that the history of black people is not just a history of struggle, but also a history of triumph and resilience. Black people have made major contributions to society despite facing obstacles and systemic barriers. We have to realize that in this world that tries every day to right the wrongs of yesterday, we must learn to love, not hate. In order to accomplish this, we have to find a way to celebrate black history, not as a separate part of history, or as a political advantage or a weapon to get an edge of an opponent, but as a great appreciation of who we are as a human race. Black history is a vital component of world history which tells us the stories of the struggles and contributions of black people throughout the ages. Black history is not just about the history of black people in America. It encompasses black people all over the world. It is a story of bravery, resilience, and strength in the face of oppression and adversity. Black History Month is a celebration of the many significant accomplishments of black people that have been instrumental in shaping the world as we know it today. We must continue to work towards a future where everyone has equal rights and opportunities regardless of race or ethnicity. We must realize that in this world that tries every day to right the wrongs of yesterday, we must find a way to use black history as a tool, not a weapon to drive out hate. I believe that the story of black history is an integral part to the American dream. We recognize that the contributions that black Americans have made to this great nation, and we honor those who have sacrificed and fought for freedom and justice. In the words of General George Washington, let us therefore animate and encourage each other and show the whole world that a free man contending for liberty on his own ground is superior to any slavish mercenary on earth. Thank you.
Do you see the next governor? Do you see the next president? Do you see the next Barack Obama? You see it? And this actually gives me hope. This is the reason why I'm taking a little bit of time, but I just wanted to say this is the reason why we started a youth leadership program. This is the reason why we started a youth internship program. Even in the summer, we are trying to do a paid internship program because of kids like. And how old are you?
13.
13. And a kid, a child like him, gave me hope. Thank you.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much, Quincy. And a word too, he's a 13-year-old from Garcia Middle School, so we think he probably has some great teachers in his life as well, right? When we speak about African Americans, we speak about a culturally rich and diverse diaspora. We are not a monolithic people. During Black History Month, we have a unique opportunity to educate our children, or let our children educate us, the community, right, in meaningful ways that can significantly impact all of us. But 28 days doesn't seem like it's long enough to truly share the wealth of the contributions of African Americans. We're going to take a moment now and present a couple more proclamations.
At this time, I will present a proclamation to Ronnie Courtney. Whereas Black History Month affords a unique opportunity to become more knowledgeable about Black history heritage in Fort Bend County, to honor the African American leaders who have contributed to the progress of our country, and whereas such knowledge can strengthen the insight of our citizens regarding the issues of human rights and continuing struggle against racial discrimination and poverty. And whereas Ronnie Courtney is an African American leader in Fort Bend County as the head boys basketball coach at Fort Bend Marshall High School. And whereas Coach Courtney's long history of success includes his 700th career win during the 2022-2023 season. Courtney earned back-to-back state championships at Willow Ridge High School before coaching at Texas Southern University. Courtney has represented Fort Bend County with pride at Willow Ridge, Bush, and Marshall High School, and now therefore be Judge K.P. George, Fort Bend County and Fort Bend, Texas, do here recognize on the 27th day of February 2023, Ronnie Courtney in Fort Bend County, Texas, in honor of Black History Month. Next, I'm here to honor Tiffany Collins. Whereas Tiffany Collins is an African American leader in Fort Bend County as the head girls basketball coach at Willow Ridge High School. Obviously, this is famous. Whereas Coach Collins led her alma mater back to the playoffs and the Lady Eagles' first postseason trip in nearly a decade with a 23-8 record in the 2022-2023 season. Willow Ridge completed a trip to the area playoffs with college leading the Lady Eagles to their first winning season in 6 years. And now, therefore, I, Judge K.P. George of Fort Bend County, Texas, do hereby recognize this day, the 27th day of February 2023, as Tiffany Collins in Fort Bend County, Texas, in honor of Black History Month. Now we move on. I will ask Miranda to come back up as we move to the next part of our program.
We've got some more good stuff for y'all today during this ceremony. Please join me now in welcoming Ridgepoint High School student Alicia Canadio for a musical performance of Ylang Ylang. Come on up, Alicia. Now we would like to recognize those honorees who continue to make an impact in our community. You've seen our political leaders, you've seen some of our leading contributors when it comes to sports. Now we would like to recognize those making an impact in our community in arts and entertainment.
Good afternoon or good morning, mid-morning. I'm Tammy Frazier, Fort Bend County Judges Communications Director. From the office of the County Judge of Fort Bend County, Texas, Black History Month affords a unique opportunity to become more knowledgeable about Black heritage in Fort Bend County, to honor the many African American leaders who have contributed to the progress of our county. Whereas Deborah Greenwood Sharp is an African American leader in Fort Bend County as a lifelong resident of Fort Bend County. A massage therapist by trade, Greenwood Sharp is passionate about upholding the history of Fort Bend County. And whereas Greenwood Sharp advocates for the people and places in Fort Bend County as an assistant secretary of the Fort Bend Green Board, a member of the Fort Bend Historical Association for over a decade, and the chairperson for the George Ranch Rodeo, honoring the legacy of the Fort Bend County Black Cowboys and historical George Ranch. Now, therefore, KP George, Fort Bend County Judge of Texas, do hereby recognize on this 27th day of February 2023, Deborah Greenwood Sharp in Fort Bend County, Texas, in honor of
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. First of all, I always talk to my God and thank Him, and to His Son, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, and to Judge George. Thank you so much. To commissioners present, and to everyone elected officers. I would be remiss without thanking my husband, my daughter, and my rodeo crew committee. Please stand. I mostly thank my mom for the first Monday in March in 1970. She received a job here as a janitorial staff. So these very floors that I'm standing on, you're standing on right now, my mom kept them clean. To be able to stand here now and be acknowledged and honored, I'm grateful and I'm humbly thankful. Not only that, I must show this. My uncle, world famous bull rider, Willie Thomas Sr., I have his buckle. This is his buckle. God called him home before he received it, but we all went as a family. And the rodeo began behind my uncles, world famous bull rider and world famous bareback rider. So on behalf of the Greenwood Thomas family and for the George Ranch and the Fort Bend History Association, I just want to say thank you all.
From the Office of the County Judge, whereas Charity Edison Carter, as the founder and executive director of the Edison Arts Foundation, has worked tirelessly to share her wisdom and passion for the arts by promoting, presenting, and mentoring numerous youth and artists across the county. And whereas Edison Carter has faithfully and conscientiously served the Fort Bend County community through the Edison Arts Foundation and created numerous initiatives that have and will continue to engage and transform Fort Bend County. And now therefore be it, I, KP George, Fort Bend County Judge of Fort Bend County, Texas, do hereby recognize on this 27th day of February 2023, Charity Edison Carter in Fort Bend County, Texas, in honor of Black History Month.
Some of us came well prepared to say a few things. Thank you, Judge KP George and Fort Bend County for this opportunity to represent the arts and culture industry and the impact of the arts in Black history, Black present, and Black excellence. The Edison Arts Foundation looks forward to future celebrations uncovering the legacy of Black history, which is American history. Congratulations to all of today's honorees. Thank you to my husband, Troy Carter, to my daughter, Addison, to my mother alongside my father, Bertha, and Robert Edison, who our foundation is named after. Thank you to all of my family and friends present and our staff. We love you. Thank you. And then I want to quick shout out to Quincy. You did a marvelous job. Alicia, you did a wonderful job. To our youth. That's what I would do.
Thank you so much. And we did that was our recognition for arts and entertainment, but we also have a business leader in the house as well that we want to recognize and honor. From the Office of the County Judge, Fort Bend County, Texas. Whereas Angelique Bartholomew is an African-American leader in Fort Bend County as the lead principal and business development ambassador of Intuitive Global Consulting, and whereas the Missouri City resident has worked tirelessly to advocate for Fort Bend County on the Transportation Research Board of the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine, and as an appointee to the U.S. Department of Commerce, Trade, Development, Finance Council. And now, therefore, KP George, Fort Bend County, Texas, do hereby recognize on this 27th day of February 2023 as Angelique Bartholomew in Fort Bend County, Texas, in honor of Black History Month.
Recognize my husband for being here, and thank you, Judge and officials, for pulling something together to give meaning to what spirit, culture, and a group of people have contributed to our lives and our livelihood. I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, just blocks away from the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing. My sisters and brothers were friends with the little girls who passed away in that church. My parents were ministers and voted and worked on voting tirelessly in their community to give back. I grew up with the likes of Angela Davis on one side and Condoleezza Rice on the other side. So as you can imagine, the delta in my understanding of challenges between African Americans and society, it is pretty broad. But I do know that we are still in that fight. And my parents would be up on this balcony if they were alive today. And they would be looking over to make sure that things were done right, properly, and just. And we are accountable to do the exact same thing. So thank you all so much. Thank you to my husband.
Especially important this morning to note that we have many of our Fort Bend students featured as part of this Black History Month program. Judge George, I know how important it has been for you and your office to support youth and provide them with opportunities, including that youth employment program that you mentioned. And so we're so happy to have that here in Fort Bend. As we continue with our program, we will now have a poem recited by a Dulles High School student named Daisha Benson called Brown. She is also a published author. So let's give her a round of applause.
Good morning. Good morning. Today I'll be reading a poem titled Brown. Bundled beautifully and twisted artistically are our boisterous and bountiful coils. I love them, and I love their color. How could anyone not be entrapped by their kinks and intricate tangles? A matter of hundreds of thousands of curls that curl onto one another to develop a tangle. A tangle in its tenacious majesty that captures my undivided and unwavering attention. My emphatic interest will not go short of a desperate decoration of my love for my hair. We are a beautiful people, the world, that reminds me of a beautiful coil. No coil is the same. With knots and blood ties to one another, we as people come to form a portraitudinous rarity that reminds me of the hair that grows out of my head. In my reflection, there's a serenity that defies understanding and the knowledge that my hair carries the weight of the world. It's wonderful, but it feels so heavy, weighed down by generations of self-pity and conformity. But I do not pity my waves and spirals. I love them and I love their endurance. No matter what I've done to change them, like history, they've always come back. Except, unlike history, my hair does not haunt me. I love my hair, and I will always love its curls and colors and endurance. And with every curl, kink, spiral, wave, and coil, I love who I am and declare that I'm beautifully brown.
Okay, y'all saw that book, right? Because we might need to pick it up. That was fantastic. Thank you so much, Daisha. Now we would like to recognize the people whose impact in this community that creates a legacy. Our next honoree did just that as the founder of Missouri City's Juneteenth Celebration Foundation, Dawn Smith. And I have a proclamation that I'd like to read. Whereas Dawn Smith provided dedicated and skilled leadership to the residents of Missouri City, Texas, as a Missouri City Council member and Mayor Pro Tem for 13 years. And Dawn's compassion and commitment were experienced by so many that it can only be measured by our tremendous gratitude for his exceptional and selfless service. As the founder of the Missouri City Juneteenth Celebration Foundation, he brought national recognition to Fort Bend County, and Smith served advocating the well-being of the people of Missouri City by advocating for health, education, recreation, commerce, and facilities project. Now therefore, KP George, Judge of Fort Bend County, Texas, do hereby recognize on this 27th day of February 2023, Dawn Smith in Fort Bend County, Texas, in honor of Black History Month.
Good morning. Good morning. I had intended to speak, but I'm compelled to speak, lest someone think that the efforts of Dawn Smith, that I had anything much to do with it. For over 33 years, Dawn was devoted to making Fort Bend County, and in particular Missouri City, a better place. He did it. For 13 years, he was city council person. And as city council person, he has laser focus on doing the things that will make Fort Bend County, more particularly Missouri City, better. He left evidence of that. If you travel along Texas Parkway today, you will see that Houston Community College has a campus on Texas Parkway. place that Missouri City citizens can be proud of. He also was the driving force and actually the visionary behind the Veterans Memorial that is also on Texas Parkway. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. It is worthy of the honor that the veterans deserve. We all know, or maybe we don't all know, that 20 years ago, Don initiated the first official Juneteenth celebration in Missouri City. He lived long enough to see that it had become a national holiday. He's gone, but his visions live on. Yes. Thank you.
It's been so moving and so inspiring just to be in this room this morning. It is altogether fitting and appropriate that we do something like this, and we have to commend and give thanks, of course, to the judge and his office for pulling this together. I'd like to invite the judge back up to say it.
Sure. Thank you. You see it. You see it. And I just wanted to thank each and every one of you taking this morning some time of your busy time to spend with us. And we wanted to put meaning. We wanted to put meaning to these all sacrifices people made. And I remember Don Smith calling me, hey, you know, you wanted to participate, you wanted to contribute, you wanted to, and we did many times. And this is so true. Some of the stuff we do, you have no idea how big it can get and how far it can go. And one thing I learned last so many years, intention. What is your intention? Why you're doing it? If your intentions are correct and divine, it will go further, it go beyond you. That is so true, and you heard many testimonies this morning. And I just wanted to recognize some of the people here, elected officials and so on and so forth. Of course, our very own Sheriff Reagan, who doesn't need any recognition. And first African American sheriff since Reconstruction. That is absolutely. And we have also Constable Smith. I saw him somewhere here. Oh. And we have Fort Bend County Treasurer Bill Rickett. Fort Bend County Democratic Party Chair, Cindy Jr. Yeah. And Judge Cody Moore. Okay. Now the question is, am I missing anybody? Oh! I cannot see. Of course, our Fort Bend County Attorney, Bridget Smith-Lawson, who doesn't need any introduction. I have no way I can see it. There's a real bright light behind you. And so, no, I know who you are now. And so, Fort Bend County District Clerk, Fort Bend County District Judge Riley, the new Monica Riley, right? Monica Rollins, where are you, man? Please stand up. And who else? Because what happened is maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago, we didn't have this good problem. Okay? Good problem. We are going to miss somebody, that's That's a good problem. Thank you. And you all are making a difference. You heard people talking. You heard the poem. You heard the young man speaking, and you heard the recital, and all that good stuff. This is all gave me hope for the future, of our country, and future of our county, future of our state actually I should say. And but again, I mentioned this, freedom is not free. And you have seen things happening at the state level. I don't know how many of you heard of SB 147. How many of you know about it? I ask you to go read. And when you try to isolate a person or a group of people, that's the beginning, people. You don't know who else is going to be added to that list. And we cannot stand up and agree with that. And also, you know that the effort to curtail and diversity, equity, and inclusion. Everybody lecture about diversity. It is a fancy, nice word. And I always ask, what about equity? What about inclusion? And these two words doesn't attach to that. Diversity doesn't mean anything at that point. And so this is the fight we are taking on a daily basis. And we, as a community, you all know that we have to stand up for what is right. And we are, I don't know how many of you don't know, we are the most ethnically diverse county in the country, according to the one of the well-to-do and one of the so many ways people get along. We all try to celebrate. I've started all this celebration of culture and history and all this stuff because we all know that when you look at somebody who doesn't look like you, and when you have a conversation and learn more about that person, you know that you have more in common than differences. And that is exactly what we're trying to do. And I just want you to know that we recognize so many people here. And you heard that Commissioner Prestige got elected 8 times. I don't know what is that like. Only thing I know that's so many years. I tell you that much. And so they all are contributing to make our community better. And let's continue to celebrate our diversity. Let's continue to celebrate the contributions of our ancestors and made us who we are. And that's what we are trying to do. And once again, I just wanted to say, please, let's all keep our guard up. And also vigilant. And there is a quote I read from Desmond Tutu. If you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. Think about it. And I will ask Brianna, please come forward and close this event out. Thank you so much.
I feel so proud this morning to be a resident of Fort Bend County, a former resident, to grow up in Fort Bend County, Missouri City to be exact. That's right. Thank you so much to the judge and his communications staff for inviting me to be a part of this event this morning. It has been my joy, it has been my pleasure to be before you. In our multicultural society, diversity, of course, makes us stronger. And African American people have a long and proud history and have contributed greatly to our society, helping us thrive as a strong and vibrant community and nation where people of all races and ethnicities and cultures have something to add. It's important to take time to recognize and appreciate these contributions. So let's all just take a second and give it a hand. Again, I'd like to wish you all a happy Black History Month. Congratulations to all of the honorees. And to note, following this program, Mimi's Creole Cafe has some light bites for you downstairs, so please enjoy.